Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Fintech Fridays. I'm Brian View, President and Chief Operating Officer at FinLocker, and I'm super pumped to have Ben Treadway from Social Coach join me today. Welcome to the podcast, Ben.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Been really digging all of your content out there. Your what is it? Your 10 minute what do you call that? Your
Yeah,
short takes,
I call them quick hits, right?
quick
So
hits.
it's you were on it, and that content's it's coming out, and we have a bunch of different people that are jumped on, but really the goal is record for 5-10 minutes, but then take that, clip it down into much shorter,
Yeah,
um, digestible bits that people can view really quick and just move on with their day,
I
and
love that.
hopefully apply that to their business.
Yeah. And so let's jump in. I want to get back to that particular topic. I think that's a super timely thing to talk about. But before we do that, let's maybe just have you talk a little bit about yourself and Social Coach. And I know a lot of folks know both yourself and Social Coach, but for those that don't, just give us the quick elevator story on you guys.
Yeah. So, I've spent the majority of my career in really mortgage marketing technology. So, working with individuals mostly, how to grow their business, how to engage with more realtor partners, find more consumers, and so I came over to Social Coach thanks to Joe Wilson. He and I have been close for a couple of years now. So, came over about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. And Social Coach's whole goal is to help, not just on the individual level, but on the corporate, the enterprise side of things, where companies are trying to find any way that they can to bring business in, especially right now in this market. Social media is what I say is the easiest, the fastest, the cheapest, and really the widest type of marketing you can put out there right now.
Yep.
And I say that because number one, no one paid $1 to download Facebook onto their phone
Right.
or to, create an Instagram account. No one pays a single cent. Now you can boost ads, you could do all this stuff, but grabbing your phone, downloading an app, a social media app, and posting content is all free,
Yep.
and it reaches the masses. And so Social Coach is really built to help take advantage of that tool, while making sure everything remains compliant,
Right.
while helping with building content, video content, all that good stuff.
And we'll get into this as well, but you guys have had a couple pretty cool recent releases, so we'll
Yeah.
tease those here, and then we'll come back to those.
Perfect.
But I want to get into I think a pretty meaty topic right off the shoot, which is what you already kind of talked about. Everybody, anybody that's in the real estate finance business today should be, could be, and if they're not doing this and they don't plan to do this, won't be in the business any longer. They should be on social, and they should be building. It's one thing to be on social and create content, but really the idea is you're building your network. You're extending your physical network and building it digitally is
Hmm.
really what it amounts to. Just the same way, old school loan officers used to have. You've heard of BNI, right? The business networking. That's
Yeah.
the earliest form of social media. It just happened to be, real. It was all
Yeah.
in person, social engagement. Now with these platforms and with the younger generations really leaning into social media for learning, this is the time to start doing it. And it's not too late. Maybe just talk a little bit. You talk, but you're like me. You talk to loan officers every day,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you're helping a lot of folks that are in my age cohort. Kind of that mid-50s range. Think about and strategize on how to get into this space. I think it's important for people to know it's not too late to start, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll just start there.
Yeah, no, you're right. There is the loan officers I talk to, they want to do it, right? They have a desire to do it. The loan officers that don't want to do it, they're happy with, their business, right? Yeah,
Yep.
they're basically weaning off of closing a ton of loans. They're
Right.
getting to this point where they're okay closing, 2 loans a month, or less. and just maintaining the 5 or 6 agents that they've had for the past 20 years. Um, there's a lot of top performers that have said, I need to adapt to the current situation. And the current situation is, as loan officers get older, the ways that worked really well for them 20 years ago do not work now,
Right.
because the home buyers now have grown up and are continuing to grow up with more and more technology, with social media, with phones in their hands. And our attention span, ours, because I'm 30, our attention span is much shorter. And so when I get a flyer in the mail, when I get a mailer, when I get like a pamphlet, even just like someone sending me an email, it's rare that I
Yeah.
get through all of the content that people are sending me, because I have to read it, I have to sit down, I have to digest it. Where on where we're seeing a lot of success for loan officers now is 45-second videos,
Right.
right? With the first 10 seconds being super catchy. Grab the attention so you can maintain it for that period of time. Um, yeah, if you're not doing video, if you're not doing social media, you've just kind of accepted, okay, I'm going to have a business it's going to grow out of business, which isn't a bad thing, especially if you're later in your career. It's not a bad thing to just say, okay, I have a couple of years left. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to let it go until I'm out, and then I'll be done. But for
Yeah.
someone who's like middle of their career, and they have another 15 years, like, you should definitely get with the times,
Yeah.
right? Adopt and adapt, and so you can succeed.
I talk a lot about, well, first of all, there's a lot of people in the industry that are talking about the next generation home buyer. So Kristen Messerly has done a lot of great work and has been commissioned to do studies on the next generation home buyer. She's mainly been focused on kind of the millennials, right? And then you've got kind of the up and comers who are in you know, the Gen Z cohort, folks like Allie Carty, who are talking every day she's talking to her peers in her generation.
Yep.
I think she's 24 or 25 years old. So,
Yeah.
she's got a pulse on Gen Z. And so this next generation home buyer there's a set of kind of table stakes that they expect a lender and a loan officer to deliver. And technology definitely is in that space. So I've started to talk about the next generation loan officer and what they need to look like in order to meet that next generation home buyer. And I'm not of the mindset that just because I'm saying next generation loan officer doesn't mean you're a 20 something or a 30 something. You can be a 55-year-old loan officer and be the next generation loan officer. In fact,
Yeah.
I would argue that, a seasoned loan officer with 10, 15, 20 years of experience who embraces video can be an unbelievable resource with the years of experience and the cycles and the markets that they've seen. Just share what you've seen,
Yeah.
share the stories of tough deals and how you overcame those tough deals. Those are compelling learning opportunities for younger home buyers. And I'm what you guys do is you provide the resource to make it pretty easy for loan officers to get into this space and maybe just talk a little bit about I'd love to get into the details of taking a 10-minute recording and creating a month's worth of content off that.
Yeah, that's a fun aspect to it. That's a fun piece. A 10-minute recording. There's a lot of ways to clip that out, right? There's 30-second clips, minute and a half clips. I typically, the way that I do my video content, that it's and we can talk about this. Engagement is so different, right? I could have a video that I thought was not going to do well, and it does really, really well.
Yeah.
And then the same person, just a question later, just a different clip, does nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? How is that even possible? It's the same person. They're just answering another question. Um, and so it's really interesting to see. I think what we do at or not TikTok, what we do at Social Coach, we allow loan officers to get into TikTok, to get
Yeah.
into Instagram by all they need to do is record the video. That's it. Just record the video. our video catalyst tool actually takes care of the rest. And so if you're wanting to adopt this video content, if you're wanting to like get into it and you're comfortable being on video, but the other aspects of it, you see the you know the animations and the
Yeah.
captions and all that is pretty daunting. And so all they have to do in our end is just simply record the video, and it could be whatever you want, and
Yeah.
we'll just simply do the whole end post production side of things. So editing, producing, even scheduling and posting for them as well. So when we talk about, just good video content, it's literally 30 seconds,
Yeah.
45 seconds. And you could create a 10-minute video, and there's definitely bits in there. But if you think of something, I was talking to a loan officer, he's like, yeah, I need to do video content. And I have a time every single day that I can do it. It's when I'm walking home from dropping my son off at the bus stop.
Right.
It's a 7-minute walk back to my house. And I'm always thinking about things. I'm like, well, why don't you just grab your phone and record?
Yeah.
Just record your thoughts. The 7-minute walk, just record your thoughts. Because you might have some really good thoughts and you might have some really bad thoughts. Not
Yeah.
bad thoughts, but like not effective thoughts. And so I just challenged him, hey, just grab your phone. And the next time you walk back from the bus stop, 7 minutes, just record the entire walk.
Right.
And just talk through what you're thinking about. And he has some great clips from that.
Yeah.
Just little nuggets of knowledge that are really going to be beneficial for his followers.
And it's a great advice, because I know that, like, for me, when I'm walking, doing something in between, normal scheduled tasks, is usually when your brain frees up and you have kind of this idea flow. And so it's such a great idea to just boom, turn on the camera and talk into it. Sadly, you could get home after that 7-minute walk and there's nothing there. But if you're doing it 5 days a week, the chances are you're going to have 70% of really good stuff that's useful there, that now lives on forever. Because that's one thing people don't realize, is when you put something out there, it's not like it's just, depending on the platform, it just doesn't disappear. It lives on and kind of has a, ongoing engagement. It may tail off, but it's still out there. And it's a resource, if you're using it the right way. Like I take a lot of the content from these talks, and, maybe a 20-minute podcast is going to create 20 to 30 clips off of that. And those I use to promote the podcast. I find cool things we talk about, and then that's content I can use for my own channel. So there's just so much you can do, but you got to do it. You got to turn the camera around, hit the red button, and go.
Yeah, and that's it. And what I find is that piece is not actually the roadblock.
Right.
It's you're starting to overanalyze the video. Oh, did I say the right thing? Well, just record it, and if you don't want to overanalyze it, just record it and send it to us, and we'll take care of it. Right. But record it and send it to someone else and say, hey, what do you think? Oh, I like this piece. I like that piece. So I send videos to my brother, who's also in marketing. He does SEO. He's all in he does a lot more than SEO, but and so I send him videos and I say, hey, what do you think about this? Like, do you see something in there that's good? And he'll pick out 2 or 3 things, and those are my clips. He may send back like, dude, no, there's nothing in there, and that's totally okay. But I think I had an issue. So when Instagram Threads came out a couple months ago, just this like competitor to Twitter, I spent an hour and a half just recording this, like what I thought was going to be a good video. I had 72 drafts in my phone, and I didn't post a single one of them. Right. And it's because I overanalyzed it. I got done with the video and I was like, that's not good enough. And I didn't know what to do. And so what did I do? All I did was I asked someone to come on my show, and I asked them, hey, what are your thoughts on Threads? And it's Corey Shelton over at ACM. He gave his thoughts on it, and then I gave my thoughts on it, and that clip became really good.
Right.
Because I was able to bounce my ideas off of him. And so what I tell loan officers, and this is actually a really interesting video idea. If you're a loan officer and you want to grow your business, call up a realtor in your area and record a quick 5-minute bio with them.
Love that.
right? It's
Yeah.
free. You can go to coffee, right? Sit down at coffee, each, buy each other's whatever.
Yeah.
Buy,
Yeah.
make sure you buy your own coffee, right?
Yeah.
And then just sit down and say, hey, do you mind if I just like record a quick conversation? And you ask them, hey, what happened in your last deal? What makes you different? All these different things. Take that video content, and it doesn't even have to be edited. Just post it to your page,
Yeah.
tag them, tag their company, throw out hashtags, and then send it to them and have them post it on their page. Tag you, tag your company, right? So now you have two people posting a short clip promoting that realtor,
Right.
but that realtor is saying, hey, like, thanks to Brian View for sitting down and chatting with me. He's a great loan officer over at this company. Now you're getting video content out there
Yeah.
for a realtor, and you're helping to promote them. They're going to help promote you. And what's going to happen the next time a lead comes in from social media? Hey, I saw that video that you posted. I'd love to find a home with you. Oh, who helped me with that video? Brian did. I'm
Yeah.
going to send that customer to him,
So
right?
smart.
Just finding different ways to engage with realtors in your area. And yeah, commenting and liking their content is good, but hey, go build content with them.
What do you think about, so that's a good segue into engagement, right? Because I think a lot of people, when they first make the commitment to create content and create video, they go into it with a one way view, which is they're pushing content out. And I was guilty of that, about a year ago when I kind of got really focused on LinkedIn. Um, and then it wasn't until I became intentional about engaging on others' content, especially those that I wanted to see my stuff,
Yeah.
then it started to, then I started to see some of the metrics and things, start to escalate. But then I also noticed through that experience that those same people that I was trying to get my content to, all of a sudden were tagging me in some of their original content. So
Yeah.
I think it's important maybe to just share how important that part of the engagement on social is if you really are trying to build engagement and build a network.
Yeah. When I post a video on LinkedIn or I post it on Instagram or wherever it is, I'm hoping, like, fingers crossed, I'm gonna get 500 views, right? We'll just call them 500 impressions, right?
Right.
LinkedIn tracks impressions, so it's like a combination of like people viewing, comments, likes, all that good stuff, right? Even just scrolling past it. And so I'm like hoping, okay, 500 is like a good number. A month ago, 300. I wanted 300, right? And I've had some really good ones like 2,000, 3,000, and then
Yep.
I've had some really bad ones like 100, right? Um, and I was going through and I was saying, okay, how can I grow my impressions here? I don't know. It's not even like it matters, just that the content's out there. But I wanted to have more people seeing my stuff. And so what did I do? Every time I have a video that doesn't do as well as I was hoping, I spend the next 2 days before I post my next video. I like people's
Yeah.
content. I comment on people's content. I'm like reposting content that other people are putting out there. I'm literally trying to like bolster my profile, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
how much can I put outwards before I post this next video? And without fail, if I have commented, liked, shared, reposted other people's content within the past day or two, and then I post my next video, that one will always do better than the one that did not do well.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
the reason is, well, at least I think the reason is because if if I am engaged with you, Brian, and I send you a comment and I send you a like and I reshare your content and then I post something tomorrow, you're gonna see it.
Yes.
And there's this kind of like social obligation to
Yes.
just like drop a like,
It's
right?
amazing.
Or just like drop a comment. Like, oh man, Ben commented on my post yesterday. Super nice. He reposted my content. Oh, and here's a video that he posted. I at least have to like it.
Right.
Just like show some reciprocation there. And then here's the funny thing. It's like the episode of The Office where Dwight and Andy are like trying to one up each other all the time by doing favors for each other.
Yeah.
Like one of them does a favor and then now he's indebted to Dwight, right? And then Dwight does something for him and then Andy is now indebted back and forth. And that's what it is with social, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're commenting on my stuff, number one, I'm going to respond. But then I feel like, to be able to build that relationship, I'm going to comment on your stuff. And back and forth we go, and then we find ourselves on our shows and
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
see each other at conferences, and it's like we've met before in person and shook hands and went out for a drink together, and we haven't,
Right.
right?
Right.
But when we do get together, I think Eric Levin over at Model Match said it perfectly. I go to conferences and people come up to me and they act like they know who I
Yeah.
am and we've met before, and I've never met them. And the reason is because they watch my content.
He and
They
I
get
just
to
had
know
the
me that way.
same conversation last week. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so true. And I want to take your uh, engagement discussion and take it back to the BNI analogy, right?
Hmm.
It's no different than the 18 professionals that on a Wednesday morning that are sitting in the local coffee shop as part of their BNI group. And if I'm the roofer and you're a plumber and we go in that Wednesday morning that over the last 3 weeks I've sent 3 leads your way, I guarantee that Wednesday morning you're doing everything in your power to connect me with the next person that could use my services. So this is not a new concept, right? This is
No.
a tried and true concept, but now technology allows you to really scale it.
Hmm.
I talk a lot about scaling locally because you could do
Hmm.
all those local, face to face kind of things that you would do. And by the way, you should still do those if your communities have those because they're great. They just get
Yeah.
amplified by what you're doing on social, but you can do the same but different on social, and it just amplifies your presence in your local community.
Yeah. Absolutely. And people, every time I go to a conference, every time I talk, people want to do business with people,
Yeah.
right? They don't want to do business with companies. They want to do business with people that they enjoy. I think that saying right there has been thrown out for the past 100 years, right?
Yep.
People want to do business with people, and it hasn't changed. People still want to do business with you. What makes you you, right? Obviously, you're a Michigan State fan, right? That's something that subconsciously I can connect with you with. It
Right.
means you like college sports, probably college football, probably college baseball, right? I can connect with you on that level. But if you are just so pinned up every single time as a businessman, I can't relate to the
Right.
shirt and tie, but I can relate to, the picture behind you. You can relate to, maybe something behind me,
Yeah.
whatever it is. But then when we're in person, obviously conversations are so much that they flow better when you're in person and whatnot, but you can start those conversations with things that you've already known about each other on social.
Yeah, and we're talking a lot about what is probably more of a in our world B2B, but it's the same principle
Yeah.
for loan officers in their communities putting out content and getting engagement from prospective home buyers. And
Yeah.
in today's world, you may never actually sit across from them, during that whole process, but it's likely that you're going to be on a Zoom call or a FaceTime call or something. And I agree with you. It's that there are so many people now, that at events that I go to, or even just calls that I'll take, where it's like, because I've seen and been following them on LinkedIn primarily, there's a level of comfort and familiarity that's there before we even formally meet for the first time. It's
Hmm.
pretty powerful.
It is. And it's easy.
Yeah,
It's not hard.
super easy.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
No, and I think in the last couple of minutes, I think this is a good thread to kind of close with. Is it is easy. It's as easy as having this conversation that you and I are having. The only difference is that we're having it with our cameras on and we're recording it, and we're going to share it with others. And I think the lesson that I'm trying to push out there to everybody that's in the real estate finance space that faces off with consumers is these just talk about the problems you've solved in the last month. Pick every month, pick the 3 toughest deals you got done the previous month, and just do a little 5-minute video on those lessons learned. Because if you solve one problem for somebody last month, there's 500 people have a similar situation that need that problem solved, and you could be that resource for them.
Hmm. Yeah. It's like so easy that we take it for granted, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think that, there is a benefit, especially when you're talking B2C. Like there's a benefit talking about like, hey, what's the biggest issue that I was able to overcome,
Right.
right? Or what's an interesting situation here or there. Um, for me, my number one post last week was a picture of me and my son when he went out to school,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Saw that.
Yeah, you saw it. A ton of people saw it. It blew my my thought out of the water.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to get, I figured, hey, it's personal and whatnot, and I was posting it because, I'm a proud father,
Yeah.
right? I'm a young father. I'm a proud father. Like I know you posted earlier, right when the baseball season was starting, about your son,
Yeah.
right? Who's playing baseball professionally, right?
That post,
Um,
by the way, is the still the single post this year that's got the most
yeah.
impressions, engagement. It has nothing to do with business.
Here's the crazy thing, right? It's because people can relate to you about that. I
Right.
messaged you and I was like, hey,
Yeah.
next time you come out, like, let's go to a game together. Because I live in Phoenix. I
Right.
live where spring training is. I'd love to go see your son go pitch, right? And we connected on that level. And so if you're a loan officer, if you're a realtor, or even if you're just an executive, don't think that your individual personal lives is going to turn people off from your company. It'll actually help it even
Right.
more. Because my realtor that I work with every single time I buy a home, like I've done it a
Yeah.
bunch. No, I've done it twice. I've bought a home twice in the past 3 years. Bought it right in the middle of the pandemic, and then I bought one just 6 months ago. I've referred him to four other people that have all bought homes with him,
Yeah.
right? Why? Not because we connected on the homes. We connected on the fact that he has a daughter the same age as my daughter.
Right.
We connected on the fact that he loves music and plays music. I love music. I do not play music. But we connected on multiple levels. And here's the biggest thing, the separator, the reason why I gave him a shot, he sent me a video to introduce himself. And I watched the video, and the other realtor who engaged with me sent me like a long pamphlet about like why right now is a good time to
Yeah.
buy. And I was like, man, like I
Right. Right.
didn't
Right.
care. I watched the video and I didn't even call the other realtor to even like talk with him. It was just
Yeah.
like, I need to talk with Tucker. He's my guy, right? And he's been my guy and many of my friends' guys as well when
Love
it
it.
comes to buying a home, because we connected on multiple levels. He sent me a video to start the relationship, and we just connect on so many different levels.
And frankly, think about the work that you would go through to craft a prospecting email, right? A lot of thought, a lot of work typically goes into that. Whereas, boom, you turn on your camera and you talk into it for 30 seconds, introduce yourself. It's faster. It's definitely more authentic. And you perceive that as someone that's gone the extra mile, when in reality it was probably less time than crafting, a long drawn out email. It's just
Yeah.
it just screams to how people connect. And I know there's so many great people right now, resources that loan officers and lenders alike have access to. Obviously, Social Coach and the great stuff you guys are doing. Folks like Mike Ferrazzi, who's great working with loan officers and helping them if they're just getting started,
Mike's great.
creating content, and Scott Shang, who understands kind of the how to leverage Chat GPT to create very compelling content. Just all these resources that are available to people. You just got to go out and reach out to them. And um, it's actually, as bad as the market is, it's an exciting time for me to kind of watch the current group of originators that are embracing technology and video and social, because I think they're going to win. They're going to win
Yeah.
for years and decades to come.
Yeah, I talked to a loan officer yesterday. I called her and I said, "Hey, are you interested in doing in video?" She's like, "Yeah, I am. In fact, I'm so interested because my last three deals all came from Instagram. Her last three deals.
Yeah.
She did three deals last month, and that were not there if she did not post a video on Instagram."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty compelling. That's the difference between zero and three
Yeah,
loans.
that's the difference between being able to, you know, afford afford a trip and
Right.
not
Yeah.
afford eggs at this point. Eggs are
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
expensive, right? And not, right? And it's all because she just posted a simple video talking about like, hey, it's a reel. It was an Instagram reel.
Yep.
They were people she had never met before. They all DM'd her and said, hey, I loved your video and I want to see kind of, can you answer a couple questions for me?
Right.
It didn't start with, hey, I want to get an application.
Of course.
Hey, I have a question about what you said. And then boom, they last month she closed 3 deals all from Instagram.
That and I'll leave us on this note. That's you just nailed it. It didn't start with I'm ready to apply. So why do we still have the biggest call to action on our website is apply now?
Yeah,
It's like, come
I
on,
don't even
guys.
know if I don't even remember like I've never clicked on the apply now.
No.
It really was just like, hey, like 3 calls in with my loan officer. He's like, hey, I just need you to fill out a couple of pieces of
Yeah.
information. And
I'll
I had
send you a
trusted him
link.
so much at that point. I was like, yeah, sure,
Right.
like whatever. So yeah, no, you're right. Apply now, probably not the best CTA. Um, Ask me a question. That's a great one.
Right.
And they have filters on social media. Those like poll filters.
Yep.
Where you can ask me anything. Ask me about mortgages, and people will ask.
Yeah. Love it. Well, Ben, this has been a blast. I've learned, as I always do, a ton from you. I appreciate you coming on. I love what you guys are doing at Social Coach. I'm a big fan, and looking forward to seeing you on the upcoming conference circuit.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks for coming on, and everybody, thanks for tuning in. Come back next Friday for next week's episode. All right, good stuff.